Hi, we are Matthew and
Ciji Gamble.
and welcome to our podcast, The Love Life.
Chicka. Keep it going.
Hi, I'm Matthew,
And Ciji Gamble.
and welcome to our podcast, The Love and Life podcast with the Gambles. Our podcast, we're going to focus on marriage, parenting, and mental health.
Yeah.
We both come with backgrounds in mental health, some more tenured than others because they're a little bit older. But we are definitely passionate about helping married couples and, helping married couples with, really strengthening relationship and improving their mental well-being, the mental well-being of their children, the health of their marriage, while definitely.
Let's rewind. Who are you?
Can I talk about why we doing the podcast before you do all that?
But they don't even know who you are.
I mean, I was gonna get to that.
Okay.
But anyways, but no, I am husband. I'm a father to two wonderful boys. I'm a podcaster. So check me out, Morning Motivations with Matthew. I'm a business owner, MG Consulting, coaching and consulting, where I help small businesses with strategy on business expansion, business growth, onboarding, career development. I've been in leadership for upwards of almost 20 years now. I work in corporate America, and I am currently pursuing my master's degree, in counseling. So yeah, that's who I am. My plate is full; it's too full, but that's who I am.
I'm Ciji Gamble. I am a wife, a mom, a sister, a counselor. We have two wonderful young men, age 9 and 6. I am a licensed professional counselor, and I see perinatal mental health clients, and I have a group practice that specializes in that. So I've been counseling for 12 years, a business owner for about 8 years with a solo private practice, which is now a group practice. And that's about it.
Right. I want to shed a little bit of light on why this particular podcast was actually birthed. Do you remember?
Nope.
No. Okay. Well, for one, we've been talking about it for quite some time, and we're believers. We have a strong foundation, and believe in God, and He has definitely been the pillar of our marriage. He's been the foundation of our marriage, and more importantly, the foundation of our friendship, because that's where it started. He helps us and leads us and guides us in every area, even when we stray. But this podcast was birthed through a small group that CG and I did a few years ago.
Okay.
How could you not remember that
I
CG
remember the
did
small group.
a few years ago in our church called Family, Finances, and All the In Between.
Yeah.
Where we led a small group of married individuals, some single folks, but mainly married individuals. And we talked about finances and parenting and nutrition and mental health and home ownership and wealth building. And so that's essentially where this podcast was birthed, because there was so much, not even so much success. I would say that God's hand was upon it. Because we were really able to see the manifestation of what He could do, not only in our marriage, but in the marriage of people whom we love dearly and who we had relations with. And that's essentially what it was birthed out of.
And then we had a lot of people just that kept sharing, like, you guys should do a marriage group, or You guys should speak with married couples, and um, this is the format, I guess, that we've chosen to do just that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, our podcast is mainly designed, it's definitely designed for married couples, ages 20 on up, who are really honestly looking for practical tips in terms of how it is that they need to navigate throughout their marriages. So,
Actionable, practical tips,
actionable,
realistic.
Yeah.
Because we are not perfect.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, that's probably what allows us to communicate these things. So we are not perfect. We won't be perfect after this podcast.
Yep.
And we are continuing to work on our marriage. So we're going to share what has worked and what is working and what we hope to work throughout.
Yeah. I think you said something pivotal, and that was that we are not perfect. We are not striving to be perfect, but we know that we are striving to do all that God has really given us to do. And we go to marriage counseling. We are mostly counselors who seek counseling.
Come on.
Both individually and as a married couple. So we are not just talking the talk, if you will say. We walking it out in all honesty, in order to help really strengthen our marriage and really strengthen our individual selves, because at the end of the day, you are your own individual.
Some of the topics that we would cover, or that we plan to cover. So we plan to cover topics that not only help with parenting, mental health, marriage, friendship. So mental health and physical intimacy. Coping with change together. Matthew got married very young. I was young, but he was very young. And so...
Hold on. You said you was young, but I was very young. We was both very young.
How old were you?
I was 20.
Very young.
A few months before my 21st birthday.
I was 25, or turning 25. Or no, I was 25. So we got married younger. And
she caught a hold of me.
You silly. So coping with change together.
Can you go back to that though? Like, when you think about coping with change together, we married very young, right? I mean, let's be honest, 20 and 25, that was like, that's like back in the day, getting married. Like, people don't do that in the 2000s. But we did. We stepped out on faith. We believed that we were meant to be together. And God has really sustained us through a lot of storms. However, we've literally grown up with one another these last 15 years, right? So all of my 20s, all of Ciji's 40s, because what she does say is she's 40 years old, right?
All my 30s.
All your 30s, right? So all my 20s. I said what she didn't say is that she's 40.
I am 40 and
40 and fine. I give you that. 40 and fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But we've gone through a lot of transition in 15 years with having been married so young, in order for us to get to the place where we are today. When you enter into a union, when you enter into a marriage, you are two individuals trying to identify how it is that you can actually really move towards being sync. But what has been foundational for our marriage is our friendship. It has been our friendship. That is where we started. We didn't court for very long. We didn't know each other for years, but God knew that it was meant to be. And so because of our friendship and because of the genuine, authentic love that we have for one another, we've really been able to sustain and weather the storm for these 15 years. And that has come with our ability to kind of cope to the change that we've individually had and had together, with having children, with buying houses, with careers, with college, you name it. gone through it in these last 15 years.
Mm-hmm. Financial stress and marital health.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Balancing parenting and partnership.
You want to talk about that?
Huh? We're going to talk about that. I'm not going to get into it, but we're going to talk about that because with parenting, what tends to happen is we'll get into some of the technical, like triangulation and things like that, but we're also going to just talk about, okay, how you are to partner together rather than sometimes it can feel as if you're partnering with your child.
Mm-hmm.
And trying not to do that. And then also, what do you do when there's disagreements in regards to the children?
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll be practical, it'll be some counseling techniques in there. Side note, we are not your counselor, so seek one. And just really getting into the nitty gritty about being a parent and marriage because it does change the dynamic of your relationship.
Yeah. And I think that's why, and I probably talk about this a lot, why, the friendship aspect of your relationship is so important. When them kids gone and out your house, however old they are when they decide when they decide to leave, it's just going to be you and that person, and that's been really essential for Ciji and I. These last 9 years that we've been blessed to be able to be parents. Is remembering that when they're gone, it will be she and I. And so not forgetting that spark in our relationship and identifying and not forgetting our why. We talk about dating, right? And the importance of dating and staying connected.
Self-care in marriage. Yeah. But those are just various topics that we are planning on talking about. But what we would love with this episode, which is just learning about us, is that you comment, let us know actually what you want to hear, what sounded compelling, if there was anything that was missed that you want to hear. We want to build a network that can not only just encourage, but help with what we found that helped and what you've also found that has helped.
Yeah. All right. So send us your questions, your topics, your suggestions, and join the conversation on our social media channels. And so we're definitely looking forward to having you along this journey. And thank you again for tuning into the Love and Life podcast with the Gambles.
So if you could subscribe, that would be wonderful.
Yes, it will.
Never thought I would say that as an elder millennial, but hit the subscribe button so that you can get notification and join the journey with us.
All right. Peace.